Google Pest Control Marketer. Grow your business like never before. Call 770-993-0004.
Well, hello, folks. This is Hal Coleman, the Pest Control Marketer. I'm here along with the internet audio and video guy, Mike Stewart in the flesh, and we're here to bring you another episode of Pest Control Marketing Live and the Pest Control Marketing Podcast. We're the only live streaming TV show that I know about on the internet that's totally devoted to helping PCOs, WCOs, and other small businesses grow your business, get more customers, and make more money. How about that, Mike? Isn't that true?
That's been our mantra for many, many years. And we have lots of happy, successful customers who have followed through with what was needed to be done. It takes work on your side. It takes work on our side. But, you know, the one of the biggest complaints we've always heard is, if I knew what to do, I'd do it. And that's what we do. We can tell you a lot to do, but at some point you got to do the work.
Got to do it. And that's what we want to talk about today is at what point do you take action? You know, Mike, I heard let's go all the way back to my childhood. Now, let's go back to our mothers and daddies when we were kids. How many times did you hear one of your parents say, "How many times do I have to tell you to?" Whether it's take out the trash, make up your bed, do your homework, I don't care what it is. How many times am I going to have to tell you?
And the truth is, you didn't have an answer. You just knew you got to keep telling me.
Yeah, and I with my kids, it was, how many times do I have to tell you not to turn the dang music up loud at 12 o'clock midnight when we're trying to sleep? How many times do I, so here we are with clients ask us questions. I had a guy, you went to a retreat with me one time, and you and I did a workshop together up at Steve Beacham's lodge up there in above Helen, Georgia. And we spoke and we had dinner. We had about a dozen people. We spent the night up there, and you and I presented all day long that day. And then we had a big steak dinner. We hung out with everybody, and then we came home. And one guy that was there, I don't recall his name right now, but he had been a follower of ours for a while, and he signed up to go up there and be with us on this retreat. And I was going to do a workshop at some point. I sent out of my mailing list a notice that I was going to do an event somewhere, and he emailed me. He said, "Are you going to?" I said, "Are you coming to the event?" He said, "Well, am I going to hear anything that I haven't heard before?"
Oh, wow.
And I texted back and said, "Probably not, but you're going to hear some good stuff again, and you need to." Because, research shows us that people will make a purchase or take action after from 5 to 12 exposures to a product. They see an ad, they read about it, somebody tells them about it, they see it in the store, they see it on TV, they talk to somebody that has one, but after somewhere between 5 and 12 exposures, they make a purchase and take action. Well, I found that through the years, asking homeowners for referrals, you might have to ask them from 5 to 12 times. Listen, if you have a friend or a neighbor or a business associate or a family member that you hear them complaining about bugs or thinking that they might have a problem or getting bitten by mosquitoes, be sure to tell them to call us. We can help them. And if they do call us and they sign up for our program, we'll give you your next service free. You might have to ask them 5 to 12 times before they finally think of somebody that they can mention to you. And I remember one person said, and I don't remember who it was, it might have been me or you, that When is the best time to ask for a referral? You know when the best time is? Continuously.
Yeah.
That's the best time. So when it comes down to this guy asking me, am I gonna hear anything that I haven't heard before? No. You might hear something new, but that's not the point. I wanted to say to him, I know you, I follow you through the Chamber of Commerce, and you haven't done anything with anything you've ever heard from us before. So why are you only interested in new stuff? See, when we're kids and when we're growing up and our parents tell us something, it goes in one ear and it goes out the other. First time they tell us. The next time it goes in one ear and one out the other. But at some point it goes in one ear and out the other slower than it did the last time. Stays in there for a little while. And the next time maybe it stays in there a little bit longer. And then at some point it doesn't come out the other ear. You've heard it enough times where it's stuck in your subconscious mind and it's there. And then it moves to your conscious mind and you start thinking about it and you hear it again. And each time you hear it, you think about it more and more. And someday you say, I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to do it. And you finally make the call or you finally take the action. And Larry Latimer and I, our mentor, the late Larry Latimer, who had a big impact on both of our lives, a lot of people's lives. He used to have a little strategy or a technique, if you want to call it that. He called the time machine. And it went kind of like this. He said he talks to somebody that maybe he talks to them about his marketing program and his sales training. And then he talks to them a year later and they ask him about it. And he says, let me ask you a question. And you know what happened, what it meant when Larry said, let me ask you a question?
Mm-hmm.
Game over.
Yeah.
It's like saying checkmate in chess. So let me ask you a question. We talked about this a year ago, and you thought it was a good idea. If you had taken action on this and done it a year ago, where do you think you would be right now? And they would say, oh, I'd be way on down the road if I had done this. He said, so now I'm making you the offer again. So a year from now, do you want to be way further down the road or do you want to still be thinking about it? Do you want the next year to be like last year, which is only a year that you think about it all year? Or do you want to take action now and then a year from now, you're going to be way down there instead of here? I thought that was a great analogy. So at what point do you, if you're listening to this right now or watching this episode, at what point do you take action? We have given you, Mike, I want you to talk to people about, because you have access to it there, all of the free information that we give away, and I give away my free book. You have tons of stuff you give away. We have hundreds of episodes that we give away. I have about, well, I don't know, you can talk more about it, but at what point do you take action? At what point do you say, I want to jump on board? I want to get this ship going. I want to crank up this motor and I want to head on down the river where the good stuff is. I want to grow my business this year. I want to make more money this year. I want my phone to ring more often and I want to get closer. I want to get 1 year closer to a much better retirement. At what point do you decide to take action?
Well, first of all, it's a known fact with human beings that there has to be frequency and repetition for something to get ingrained in the Elmo or the subconscious. That's why Coca-Cola, hundreds of years later, are still running ads. You know, everybody knows Coca-Cola. You don't have to go. There's probably not many people, maybe some tribes in Africa that have never seen Coca-Cola, but I doubt they probably got Coke. McDonald's over there selling Coke already. The point I'm getting at is, why do they keep advertising? Because they know repetition and frequency keeps you top of mind in the subconscious. And so what we're talking about taking action is, I had somebody say, you guys talk about you need to consistently create content, and you guys haven't done a podcast in, I think a couple of months. Well, you and I had some health issues last year that kind of knocked the wind out of our sails, and we hate that, but we're better now.
Major life-threatening.
Yeah,
Put your
I'm,
ass in bed for a while. Health issues.
Yeah, and so it was kind of hard for us to continue our schedule. I mean, what we try to do, what we've made a commitment of action for this podcast is at least we try to do 2 episodes a month. And we were talking about this, and the thing that I started thinking about, I'm just now looking at it. You got to ask yourself, are you taking the action to listen? Because one of the things I've heard from clients is, if I just knew what to do, I do it. I've heard people say that if I knew what to do, then I'd do it. Well,
then why don't they?
Well, the thing is I think that they need to hear it over and over again. Do you know that this is our 150th episode of Pest Control Marketing Podcast?
Wow.
There are 149 episodes readily available on hundreds of subjects that could make one of these subjects could increase the profit of your business if you heard it and took action on it. So that's what we're getting around to is you've got to set some goals of taking action. And here's a goal of taking action. Don't complain that we haven't created a new episode, because in the last 5 years, this information hasn't gone bad.
No, I've got around 300 videos on YouTube, pest control marketing videos of my own that are timeless. They're evergreen.
Right. So there's hundreds of, and then of course there's resources of all kinds. Studying Napoleon Hill, studying Claude Hopkins. I mean, we need no resources that are not us that have made differences in people's business. So at what point are you going to take action to get the information on what to do? And of course, the objections. One of the things about Larry used to teach us about sales is overcoming objections. Well, I can't afford it. What do you mean you can't afford free? You can't afford to go listen to 150 episodes of podcasts that don't cost you a penny. You can't go back and listen to them. Well, I've already heard them. You remember what we said 3 years ago? Of course not. It takes, in fact, our good friend Chuck Reeves, who was a master sales trainer, he said it takes 21 times to get it embedded in your subconscious. He says you will receive a no 20 times, and on the 21st time, you'll get a yes. Meaning that repetition and that consistency is what successful people do. Successful people say, I am going to master this. I'm going to take the action to master the things that I know I need to do. And it frustrates me. I say, okay, these are like in your world, you've had people tell you, well, I don't want to do that. Well, then if you say you want to succeed and grow your business, and we have a proven strategy, and you're not even willing to test it, that's insanity. To me, that's crazy. And that, I don't like that. I don't want to do that. Who else is doing it? Well, the chances are 95% of the people in the world don't do what they need to do. It's that 5%. You know why 5% are wealthy in this world?
I think it's more like 2%.
Well, I was being generous. All I'm saying is the greatest secret says by Earl Nightingale, just if you'll do what others don't, if you do what you fear and you do what others don't, you'll be ahead of the pack. Because I remember Armand Morin in a seminar one time from the stage, and I swallowed my tongue. He said, 95% of you in this room will never do anything we tell you to do. He said, raise your hand if you're one of those 95%. And I thought, Armand, what in the hell are you doing? And do you know what? Nobody raised their hand. Nobody wanted to admit that they were. He just said 95% of you are here to get information, and you're never going to take action on it. And I know that. So don't get mad at me. Don't get mad at the messenger when we say, this is what you need to do. And if you pay for premium information, which is one of the businesses we're in, we have a coaching program that if cost was an issue, we told you where things are free. No expectations, no tricks, no switcheroos, no things to get your money without your permission. And then we have dip your toe in it and see what it's like. Are you willing to take action on that? That's what our Pest Control Marketing Gold coaching program. It's at pestcontrolmarketinggold.com. Hey, $45 a month. I'm going to go in there. There is over 3.5 years of coaching calls, people asking questions, us answering questions, going in depth on the things that you need to take action on. If you've ever said, well, you got to be objective. What are you doing to grow your business? Are you working, the age-old thing, we've said it 100 times, we'll say it again. Are you working on your business or are you working in your business? Working on your business means getting effective advertising, generating new leads, doing what it takes, making sure that everything that touches other human beings can help them be curious enough to make a buying decision. What are you taking action on to increase the amount of business, to grow your business? Because if you say you want to grow your business, yet you won't wrap your truck to make it easy to people to see your website, your phone number, and that they understand you kill bugs. I mean, you've had people say, oh, I don't want to put any bugs on my truck. I drive in a neighborhood and it's going to upset people in a neighborhood. Well,
that's the biggest bunch of bull I've ever heard.
Well, you've heard it.
Oh, yeah. It's an excuse.
It's an objection. And all I'm saying is that you're throwing up smoke screens to not have to take action. You don't want to spend money and you don't want to spend time. And if you're not willing to take action to spend money and spend time to grow your business, you're going to get what the good Lord gives you, which is good old word of mouth, and if you do a bad job and you make enough people bad, that word of mouth can turn on you in a heartbeat.
Well, Mike, it's fear is one thing that keeps people from taking action. It may be one of the biggest or the biggest things. The fear of a lot of things. Fear of failure. Mm-hmm. Fear. I know one guy that we know in the music business that could have been a superstar, but he wouldn't put himself out there and he wouldn't take the risk because he was afraid of failure. He had failed once, really big, and it froze him for the rest of his life. He wouldn't put himself. Some people are afraid of success. They're afraid of what happens if I get successful and then I start having to hire more and more employees and I start having to build a business, a building, and I've got all this. I don't know what I would do. And you see, it involves change, and our subconscious mind, our Elmo, is the controller. That's who controls us, and the subconscious mind views change as a threat. It doesn't like change at all, and that's why we get into a habit, and that's the way we do things. Why'd you do it that way? Well, that's just the way I did it. I remember hearing a lady tell a story about she would cook a ham every year for Thanksgiving and for her family after she got married, and she would saw off the shank of the ham. You got a big old ham, it's got a shank on it with some meat on it and the bone. She would saw that off and throw it away, put it away. And one day her husband asked her, why are you sawing off the shank of that ham? She said, well, I'm not really sure. That's the way Mom told me to do it. She just always saw the shank off, and I'm not really sure why. So the next day she called her mother and said, well, let me ask you a question. Every year when I was growing up and you cooked a ham, you would saw the shank off. She said, yeah. She said, why did you do that? She said, well, it's just the way it always is, the way Grandma taught me to do it when I was growing up. She said, well, my husband asked me why, and I couldn't answer him. So I'd like to know. She said, well, I'll call Grandma. You know, she's 98 years old, but I'll call her and ask her. So she called Grandma. Said, Grandma, when I was growing up, you would saw, why did you always saw the shank off of the ham before you cook it? She said, well, because it wouldn't fit in my pan with the shank on it. You know, so that's just the way we do it. We saw the shank off. Why? Because that's the way we were taught. Saw the shank off.
It's the way we've
I was
always
taught,
done it.
and we do it that way, and that's the way we do it. And any change represents a threat to your subconscious mind, and your subconscious mind hates change. It will trick you, lie to you, deceive you, manipulate you, stab you in the back, do whatever it has to do to stop you from changing your business or any of your habits. You want to lose a lot of weight and you get on a diet, guess what? At some point, Elmo's going to wear you out, and you're going to be turn around, and at some point you're going to be right back where you were. If you decide you're going to buy weightlifting equipment to change your body and build up muscle, and you start working out guess what? At some point in time, that weight equipment's going to be pushed over there in the corner in the unfinished part of the basement, and it's got spider webs all over it, and you're right back to drinking beer and eating hot dogs again. But you know what? 2 out of 100 people will continue with it and build up a massive body. 2 out of 100 people will lose the weight and keep it off and get toned and look fantastic and feel fantastic. 2 out of 100. Everybody's capable of achieving just about the same thing, but only, to me, about 2 out of 100 will actually take action and make it happen. And you know, when people say that's just not me, I don't like saying that. It's not like something I'd say. That's not me. Well, you ever watched Andy Griffith's show?
Oh, loved it. Loved it.
Yeah. Who's your favorite character on there?
Oh, always Barney. Oh.
Barney. Yeah, Barney, this nervous, fidgety, neurotic, over the top deputy, you know, played by Don Knotts. That was not who Don Knotts was. Don Knotts was he suffered from severe depression and anxiety. He was shy. He didn't like to be around people. He shut down when he got in crowds, and he was he lacked self-confidence, was never successful in relationships. But when somebody was paying him a lot of money to act a different way, he threw himself in there and went over the top with it, and he became extremely successful. He became extremely successful doing things that he would never, ever do in real life, saying things that he would never say in real life because he was getting paid. And you can get paid a lot of money by growing your business and increasing your income and increasing your wealth and increasing your retirement and everything else. You can make a lot of money by portraying somebody that you might not be. You say, well, I'm not a natural salesperson. Well, act like one. Act like one. Had somebody say one time, how do you get to be a Christian? It's easy, just act like one.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's fear of change.
Fear of change, all those things. Well, here's the key points I want you to take away from today. Number one, I challenge everybody to go back and listen to all the episodes. Make it a point. Don't whine and complain that we haven't, because there's a lot of the same subjects that you need to hear 5 to 10 times. You know, the titles are there to all the subjects. You can go to pestcontrolmarketingpodcast.com, or you can go to Apple or Spotify. You can see the titles, you can hear them, you can build a playlist of the ones you want to hear and listen to them over and over again. And then listen to them with a new mind. What am I hearing? You know, if this is the way I've always done things, doesn't cut any mustard anymore. Listen to something and say, am I doing these ideas that are being suggested. If you're
Am
not,
I taking action?
am I taking action? And if you go, oh my God, I have no clue how to make that happen. Well, then you call Hal at 770-993-0004. And he'll spend an hour with you going over what he could do for you to help you take action and know step by step. If you can't write the letter or you can't figure out the script, you don't know where to go, who to talk to, what to do, he'll tell you.
I've got them.
He's got them. He
I've got
knows
'em
what to do. And I look at people online all the time, and I have the same offer, 770-826-3662. These are our phone numbers. We're not hiding from people. We love to get calls from people who have questions. No obligation. I'll spend time with you, and I'll tell you exactly. And you may not like what you hear, but I'm going to tell you the truth. Let me tell you something. There's you got to work on your business, not in your business. And if all you're doing is getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning, going out and running routes and crawling under crawl spaces and spraying for bugs and getting paid, well, that's nice, but that's a job. That's not you building a business. That's you being an employee of a business that you own all the headaches on. You got to say, I'm willing to invest the time and money to do the things, take action on the things I do. So number one, I challenge you, go back and listen to all these things that are free. Another thing that's free, Hal's book. Go to howtogrowapestcontrolbusiness.com. Download his free book. Go to Amazon and buy it if you want a hard copy of it, so you have something to hold in your, when you're going on vacation. You can either read, some
Gone with the Wind for the 12th time.
Or you could sit there on the beach and be grateful that you got that breeze and learn something, learn what to do. Saying when I hear things like, well, this is the way we've always done it, or I don't want to do that, I'm not willing to try it. Those are the things that make me want to go, well, you don't want me. You don't want to change. And if you don't want to change, it's your right. But my God, don't say you want to grow your business and then say things like that. Take action. Take action on going back and listening to all the YouTube videos. Join our coaching club to get a taste of what it's like to have somebody to hold you accountable and remind you of the things that you need to take action on. And remember what Hal and I've said 1,000 times, 1,000 little things make the difference. Do what others do. So Hal, I think that's pretty much.
You will hold your hand. I've got scripts. I've got the letters. I've got door hang. I've got almost all the hard copy stuff that you would ever need. If you get in my coaching program, if you want to design, wrap your vehicle, your sign graphics person will work with me. We'll work to get it right so that your vehicle gets out there and starts selling a lot of business for you. And you say, oh, wow. I had a client yesterday, Mike, that I talked with, and I said, well, how'd your April turn out over last April? They ended up with a 48% increase over this April over last April. They're about halfway through their second year in my program, and they were one-man operators for a good while. Just didn't know how to get things off the ground. Now their business is exploding. Teaching them how to just get social media cranked up, teaching them all these things. They're just blown away by everything they're learning, and they'll anybody could too. They just do the things that we tell them to do. They do it.
Well, the way you used to do things changes every week. There's always going to be something new. Technology, communication techniques, attitudes of generations. I was talking to somebody the other day. I got to tell you, this is funny. They said that their teenagers refuse to dial phone numbers. They will not call anybody. They only text. They won't answer the phone. And I mean, I'm going, it baffles me, but I accept it. If that's what they would rather do, they'd rather, and I don't know what the motivation is. I mean, to me, texting is cell phone email. So it's so impersonal, and there's no emotion. There's no way to communicate with inflections of your voice and excitement. It's just cold, hard text. But if that's the way people, then you need to be able to communicate any way your customers does. So anyway, being willing to change, taking action is what we're talking about today. So you take an action and go back and listen to all these other shows. And this is summer of 2024. Me and Hal I think he's going to go turkey hunting, and I'm going to go cruising on my boat a little bit too.
There you go. I'm going. I got a meeting this afternoon. 2 weeks. I'm going to Ireland for 2 weeks.
Well, you have an amazing time in Ireland, and this will probably be the only podcast for June of 2024. But we'll be back in July. But I'll tell you what, there's no way in heck you can listen to those 150 other episodes between now and July. So go back and listen to ones that really resonate, and be honest with yourself. Am I taking action on these things? Only if you want to grow your business and make it increase. I had one client this week tell me for the first time in his history of his business, did he have 7 trucks all running the same day.
How about that?
And that's just because the phone's ringing more with more paying business.
Yeah.
Owning 7 trucks doesn't make money. Them out running routes does.
It does. Exactly. Well, Mike, this has been a good show. As always, I enjoy visiting with you. I'm sure you and I will be talking off the internet, but as we have for the last almost 45 years as friends and work associates, and we mentor each other, and we have had a good time. You're my brother from another mother, as I like to say.
Yeah.
Back when we both had dark hair.
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
Anyway, I'll be talking to you, and folks, we appreciate you, and we appreciate you listening to this episode of the Pest Control Marketing Podcast and pestcontrolmarketing.live.
Hal Coleman has been active in the pest control industry for over 40 years, including owning and operating his own successful pest control business for 18 years. He now devotes his time to helping other PCOs and other WCOs double, triple, and even quadruple their businesses faster than they ever imagined. Be sure to check out his website, pestcontrolmarketer.com. For more information about Hal's coaching program, you can reach him at 770-993-0004 or email him hal@halcoleman.com. Mike Stewart is known as the Internet audio and video guy. Since the birth of the Internet, Mike has been showing small business owners how to get more new customers, increase their sales, and grow their businesses online using audio and video, now with iPhones and Android phones. For more information about Mike's coaching program and his online training courses, visit MikeStewartCoaching.com or email him mike@internetaudioguide.com.
Google Pest Control Marketer. Grow your business like never before. Call 770-993-0004.